All right, so hi everyone, a very warm afternoon to all of you. I'm your verbal ability mentor, Sanjana ma'am, and welcome to the YouTube channel of Get Set Law by IMS. I'm here with the 16th weekly practice session. This time around, it is going to be on the English language section, focusing on CLAT 2026 examination, right? For first time joinees, those who are new to this, we have already done 15 such practice sessions. So you can definitely go and watch those sessions as well to draw some relevant insights into exam preparation, right? So let's just wait for a couple of minutes so that we have the right number of students to begin the session with. I'll also start to share the screen. Some questions this time around would really resemble the questions as were asked in CLAT 24 and 25. So I'm trying to keep the level very close to the actual CLAT level. So these are not going to be passages that are really going to be perplexing. They will be very simple. Questions will be simple. But our idea should be to ensure that we still score full in these two passages because this generally doesn't happen even if the paper or the particular section in the paper is of a very easy level of difficulty. I don't see a lot of students, come to me telling me that out of 24, they've, scored in the range of 22, 23. It's generally way less than that, close to 20, 21. So scoring 20 to 23 is actually a very good feat. So you should strive to achieve that going forward. And I think having said that, we'll begin with the preparation just about now. Here we have the first passage. Okay. Now, this passage focuses on literature, and literature based passages reigned supreme in CLAT 2025. And this is essentially an analysis of the work by Jane Austen and a very popular novel of hers, which is called Pride and Prejudice, right? So now the passage looks at the themes that the novel is about, right? Themes of love, marriage, and societal expectations are explored in the novel, right? Which also highlights or underscores the impact of pride and prejudice, like literally these two words, on the relationship of its characters. Right now, the second paragraph focuses on what essentially the broader theme or the narrative framework of the novel is, which is there's the story of Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, right? And they navigate the challenges of class, social norms, personal biases in their quest for love and understanding. Okay, now this statement is important. If I want, I can make a very, twisted question on it. The title itself alludes, so you should know what the word alludes actually means here, right? To the central themes of the novel, right? Central themes again: love, marriage, societal expectations, pride and prejudice, the impact of it on relationship. Right now, this is important. Pride, which is represented by Mr. Darcy's initial arrogance and Elizabeth's refusal to conform to societal expectations. Pride is what really acts as a hindrance or an obstacle to genuine connection, right? And prejudice, which is embodied by the characters' preconceived notions and judgments, hinders their ability to see beyond appearances, right? Then the third paragraph focuses on the way or the manner in which the work has been written, right? She skillfully employs dialogue, character development. There's also situational irony. You should know irony as a figure of speech. There are three kinds of irony. There's verbal irony, and this is for the ones who are paying attention to what I have to say. There's dramatic irony, there's situational irony. So ensure that you know these three definitions by heart, right? So it highlights the detrimental effect of pride and prejudice on relationships, right? And the understanding between the two important protagonists, which in this case is Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet, right? Their interactions are fraught with misunderstandings and misinterpretations, fueled by their own prejudices and societal pressures. This is simply nothing but telling what exactly the novel is about, right? And then later on, characters, they undergo personal growth, self reflection, ultimately realizing that there is no need to be living under their pride and prejudice, right? Now, relationships offers profound insights into the human condition, right? And the complexities of love. By examining the flaws and challenges faced by her character, Austen invites readers to reflect on their own biases and preconceptions, right? Which is why. Through the lens of Austen's insightful storytelling, readers gain a deeper understanding of the importance of humility, empathy, and open mindedness in fostering meaningful connections. Now, overall, there are a couple of keywords here this time around, and maybe a lot of keywords. It's not just focusing on impact of pride and prejudice in relationships, but you see there are keywords of humility, empathy. So, as a layperson, I personally feel it would be slightly difficult for me to remember all the keywords by heart. But thinking that I have understood the passage, let's just read the questions one by one. Now, the first question here, it says, what is the central theme explored in Jane Austen's novel Pride and Prejudice? Uh, Tell me if this really does reflect the level of difficulty of CLAT questions pertaining to the English language section. You can actually go and take a look at CLAT 2025 and 2024. This is of the same format, in fact. So, central theme, is it the power of social expectations? No, that's definitely out. When you read a certain option and you're really confident of your comprehension skills, you can automatically tell that A is wrong. Is it the complexities of human relationships? Okay, so I'm just going to hold on to option B. I don't personally feel it's a really bad option choice. Is it the influence of societal norms on love? This is a very small segment of the passage, so definitely I'm going to cancel option C, right? The importance of self reflection and personal growth. Now, this is not the central theme, this is the central message Austen might perhaps want to convince the readers of, through her characters, that it's important to inculcate values of humility and, self reflection, etc., etc. But this does not form a part of the central theme. And therefore, the correct option here would be the complexities of human relationships, how we view different things from our own lens, from our own perspective. In this case, it becomes a misconception, right? Best option choice. To me, this can really, really confuse you, but the best option choice here is option B. Take a look at the next question. And for the ones who are watching, if you want, you can definitely drop your responses in the live chat here. Now, which characters are mentioned as the main protagonists in Pride and Prejudice? CLAT 24-25, there were about two direct questions, questions to which the answers were literally there, and you could just like view it with your naked eye in the passage, right? So, main protagonist, as it is, we don't even have to discuss this. Cancel everything else. Best option choice is option C, right? Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy. Take a look at the third one. Now, this is a vocab based question. What do you mean by the word embody? To embody something is to like inculcate, to have it in you, right? It's not carry out, it's not dismissed, definitely. It's not observed, it is incorporated, right? Now, this is a fairly easy word to know the meaning of. So, there is no way we should go wrong with question number three. And I don't think so. You need to know the contextual meaning of the word embodied here. You should just know what embody means, right? Take a look at the fourth question. Now, what effect do pride and prejudice have on the relationships? It's definitely not a positive effect, right? It creates a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of misconception. That is the information we can gather from the passage. So, does it directly lead to genuine connections? This happens very much later. That is when you overcome pride and prejudice. This is the information given. So, A is out. Do they strengthen personal biases? This might be correct, but not as potent as option C. They create misunderstandings, first thing, right? Promoting societal expectations is a little too irrelevant for this. So, the best option choice for question number four here would be option C. Let's take a look at the next question. All right. What invitation does Austen extend to readers through her portrayal of relationships in Pride and Prejudice? Now, the answer to this you can find in the last paragraph, wherein, this is the message she wants to drive home. Is it to examine societal norms? No. Is it to challenge preconceived notions? Seems quite, appropriate. To embrace arrogance and pride is definitely not the message. The contradictory is the message. And to dismiss personal growth also goes, against her ultimate message. So the correct option is to challenge preconceived notions. You don't always have to view things from somebody else's perspective, or from a societal perspective, right? So self-reflection is important, which in a way will help you question preconceived or predetermined notions and ideas, marking B the best option choice. And the last question is also important, which is more like, you know, mentioning the source of the passage, right? So, what do you think the passage is most likely taken from? Is it a character sketch? A character sketch would be the relevant answer if we would delve deeper into a particular character. Here, we're not really looking into the characters in much detail as much as we're focusing on elaborating on the plot of the novel or the framework of the novel here. It's not a forward, right? It's not an editorial. We wouldn't be talking about, something which is of a very literary nature in an editorial. It's more like a critical commentary, right? We're critically analyzing it, what the suggestions or the recommendations of the author are, what is the message she wants to drive home. So the best option choice here becomes option A, right? Overall, to me, this was a full scorer, this entire passage. Let's now focus on the second passage. Now, the second passage talks about the impact that the advent of photography had, right? So, if you begin with this, the emergence of photography, it had a profound impact, okay? What is the impact? Let's just go through it. It challenging conventional representation and prompting artists to reconsider their approach. Perfect, right? Now, before photography, paintings and drawings were the primary means of capturing visual imagery. Now, after the advent of this new medium, it presented artists with a dilemma. So, this dilemma is important. Should they continue to pursue realism and meticulous? Meticulous is something which is done with a lot of detail and attention, very carefully. So the dilemma is, should they continue to pursue realism and meticulous detail, or should they embrace the unique qualities offered by photography? Which means, essentially, simply put, should they stick to the advent of photography, use more of it, or should they, continue using traditional drawings and paintings? Now, a couple of painters, their names have been mentioned. So one is that of Gustave. He's a French painter. He chose to defy convention. He chose to challenge convention, and he chose to essentially embrace photography, the unfiltered reality captured by photography. Now, his belief was that art should reflect the truth of human experience, and he saw photography as a medium in achieving this goal, right? So, this is important. According to him, art should reflect the truth of human experience. His paintings often portrayed everyday scenes and ordinary individuals, presenting a raw, unfiltered, and unidealized perspective of the world, right? Now, converse is also mentioned, wherein there were some artists who did not really appreciate photography, right? They perceive photography as a threat. Threat to what? Traditional role of painting and drawing and sketches. Because according to them, photography's ability to reproduce reality with precision. It made painting obsolete. So it sort of just put the traditional media into the back burner, right? So one such example is given of that of Thomas Eakins. He's an American painter who sought to reaffirm the distinctive expressive power of painting. According to him, painting is more distinct and unique in its expression, right? And he focused on capturing the essence of his subjects through brushwork, color, composition, personal interpretation, and emotional depth. According to him, photography could not replicate, right? So, when we read further, it says the tension between photography and painting, it sparked new artistic movements. There were multiple debates on it. Some artists embraced the possibilities of combining both mediums, and one such consequence of this was photorealism and collage. Others remained really adamant or steadfast in championing the unique qualities of painting, right? Pushing the boundaries of abstraction, expressionism. Now, emergence of photography ultimately it compelled the artists to redefine their purpose and explore new avenues of creative expression, initiating a dialogue about the relationship between art and reality, ultimately expanding the boundaries of artistic practice. So, I think ultimately, when we read the conclusion, the concluding bit here, um, according to me, the last paragraph captures the main idea quite well. Okay, I had to read this passage verbatim, and I would suggest the students also do just the same because you cannot skim through the information here. As it is, it's not a very lengthy passage, but at the same time, being able to memorize all the information in one stretch, it's not a very easy feat. Okay, having said that, let's take a look at the questions one by one. All right, so here we have the first question for this passage. What impact did the emergence of photography have on the art world? Did it eliminate the need for paintings and drawings? No, it did not happen because there were a couple of artists who embraced it also. Excuse me. All right, so cancel option A. It prompted artists to question traditional approaches to art. When you read the last paragraph and there are these keywords, you will understand that B seems like a very important topic here. C says it led to the decline. No way did it lead to the decline of artistic expression. So cancel C. It resulted in the dominance of photorealism. There was no dominance. It's just that it's mentioned that there were a couple of artists who chose the middle path between, paintings and photography. So by default, we're left with B, which does make a lot of sense. So the correct option is option B. Take a look at the next question. Now, how did Thomas Eakins view the role of painting in response to photography? According to him, painting reigns supreme. It's more distinct. So, does he consider painting absolute? No, he does not hold a negative view. If anything, he's really revering or idolizing painting. He believed that painting and photography should combine to create. No, this is not what is given in respect of Thomas Eakins, this information. So, cancel B also. He focused on capturing the essence of his subjects, directly mentioned, so no way you have to choose anything else. He saw photography as a valuable tool. No, he actually thinks of photography in a negative light. According to him, his example is given in the paragraph. It says, according to a couple of artists, photography might make painting obsolete, right? So it cannot be D. Perfect option choice here becomes option C. Next question is again about Gustav, right? What can be inferred about his approach to art? He preferred idealized representations in his paintings. This is not given. You just need to go back and revisit that part where his information is given. He believed that art should reflect the truth of human experience. It should be unfiltered, right? Perfect option is option B. Did he consider photography? No, this information is given about Thomas Eakins. So he is not the one who considered photography to be a thread. He focused on capturing emotional depth through brushwork. This is also not the information provided about him. Correct option choice here becomes option B. Next is an important question, tone of the passage. Now, the passage, according to me, is written in very factual terms, or let's just say objective terms. There is no direct, criticism. There is no direct appreciation also. It's just a very informative passage on the whole. So if that's the case, it's not contentious. Nothing is being debated here. It cannot be positive and celebratory also, because we're also caring to include those artists who did not really support photography, right? And it cannot be critical and judgmental. The perfect option choice here becomes option C, which is neutral and objective. And question 11th, it's a question on main idea of the passage. Read option A. I know the options are lengthy, but it's quite solvable. The emergence of photography, it challenged conventional notions of representation. That's definitely given. Prompting artists to reconsider that approach, again mentioned. Explore new avenues of creative expression. This too is mentioned. I don't think so. Generally, it would be wise if we go through the other options also, but upon a plain reading of option A, I feel this is like the perfect option choice to have. But still, let's give other options a read as well. Gustav embraced the unfiltered reality. You know why we can eliminate option B is because we're not just talking about him. He is just a small example, right? So B is out, right? I didn't even have to read the entire sentence, right? Look at C. The tension between photography and painting sparked new artistic movements and debates about the nature of art, ultimately expanding the boundaries. See, this tension is a substantial part of the main idea, but it's not the main idea itself. We're focusing more on the advent of photography and what really ensued with the advent of it, right? So C is not wrong per se, but we have a better option in this case. Main idea is supposed to be a little more comprehensive, it should be able to capture all the important elements well. So C is out. The emergence of photography made painting obsolete. No, this was just a fear in the mind of a couple of artists, not that it was a fact or not that it actually materialized. So D is out again. You see how you don't always have to read all the options, fully, sometimes only, so don't always exercise this rule. Just in a couple of cases, that is when you feel really confident of your skills. So for this particular question, correct option choice becomes option A. And the last question, I really wanted to come up with a vocab based question, is this time around, it's an antonym of the word unidealize. Now, if I tell you unidealize is the opposite of idealize, idealize is when you would really want to, in a way, appreciate something. right? So the perfect option here becomes romanticized, and I'll tell you why. Valorized is when you think of something from a very brave perspective, you know. So this is not something that comes closest to unidealize. Aesthetize is when you want to make something visually appealing. So idealize and aestheticize, they're not quite related to each other, right? So this is out. Aggrandized is also when you try to make something look a little huge or big, and this too is not that related. I repeat, antonym of unidealize, right? Which is the opposite of unidealize. Simply put, opposite of unidealize would be idealize, which in this case is best expressed by the word romanticized, right? Something which is not, romanticized is what unidealized means. Romanticize is when you really appreciate something, right? You sort of rever it, you sort of worship it, right? So the best option choice here becomes option A. This can be quite tricky. I can give you that much. Question number 12, I can expect a couple of students to make mistakes. All right. So I hope this time the session was even more helpful. I tried to come up with a couple of different questions. Some were really in alignment with, the level of difficulty of CLAT-based questions. With this, I'd like to end the session. Let me know in the chat if you found it helpful. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.